I figure out how to add audio. But while I do that, get this next chapter read. My version is the legal way. So we're just going to. Oh shit, what maximum now, bro? I go -1 if I got to. Alright. Put this on this blank dot. And oops. Yeah, there you go.
2. Therefore we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. Slip. 2. For if
Oh, that don't work like the phone. Phone would have played through the app switch. But that's fine. I got it. Therefore, we ought to give the more earnest heed to the things which we have heard, lest at any time we should let them slip. For if the word spoken by angels was steadfast, and every transgression and disobedience receive a just recompense of a reward, how shall we escape if we neglect so great salvation, which at the first part at the first began to be spoken by the Lord, and was confirmed unto us by them that heard him, God also bearing them witness, both with signs and wonders, and with divers miracles and gifts of the Holy Ghost according to his own will. For unto the angels hath he not put in subjugation the world to come, whereof we speak, but one in a certain place testifies, saying, What is man that thou art mindful of him, or the Son of Man that thou visitest him? Thou madest him a little lower than the angels. Thou crownedst him with glory and honor, and didst set him over the works of thy hand. Thou hast put all things in subjugation under his feet, for in that he put all subjugation under him, he left nothing that is not put under him. But now we see not yet all things put under him. But we see Jesus, who was made a little lower than angels for the suffering of death, crowned with glory and honor, that he by the grace of God should taste death for every man. See, for it became him for whom are all things, and by whom are all things, and bringing many sons unto glory, to make the captain of their salvation perfect through sufferings. For both he that sanctifieth and they who sanctified are all of one, for which cause he is not ashamed to call them brethren, saying, I will declare thy name unto my brethren in the midst of the church. Will I sing praise unto thee? And again I will put my trust in him. And again, behold, I and the children which God hath given me. For as much then as the children are partakers of flesh and blood, he also himself likewise took part of the same, that through death he might destroy him that had the power of death, that is the devil, and deliver them who through the fear of death were all their lifetime subject to bondage. For verily he took not on him the nature of angels, but he took on him the seed of Abraham. Wherefore in all it behooved him to be made like unto his brethren, that he might be a merciful and faithful high priest in things pertaining to God, to make reconciliation for the sins of the people. For in that he himself hath suffered being tempted, he is able to score them that are tempted. Alright, now let's get into this, bro. Here's what I'm about to do. Okay. Okay. I'm going to go in here. We are going to. It is lagging. Hold on. Alright. Uh, I just reset. I had a PlayStation controller in my hand. I started reading again. Something on my phone about work, but I just want to make sure something real quick. So what I gotta make is a system that is similar to just how a beat will work. Well, similar to a DOS, but we're not gonna be able to see anything. So it's gonna be interesting. I was thinking like, should I put an audio in this character class that I was creating? But I don't think I will. I think I'm just gonna go to the character and just try to like continue to create the class. So the character moves, and then let's look up some documentation real quick. I don't know. I'm thinking maybe I could use the signal. Thinking if I make a script individual for each player, each enemy character, that'd be kind of crazy. So I'll probably have the enemies will all move the same way towards the target position. Um, we'll worry about that once we get this first enemy done, though, or at least two. Let's get two different enemies complete with their own scripts, and then I'll see how much I need to copy. I think that's the best way to do it. So right now, we need to figure out what I'm gonna do. So I don't know if I'm gonna add. So when the signal emits, the sound will play from the closest enemy to the player. That's what I got to get to happen. So when this signal is emitted, it's going to receive this signal. And when it receives the signal, it's going to move the character, play the sound, spawn a character. Those are the three things I need to happen when the signal is played. Okay? I got to break this down. Three things that need to happen when the signal is played. Spawn. So let's make the signal system. I think that's what I'll do. I'll try to get that up and running. All this before a help system, before an attack, before a spawn, yes. It's necessary. If I can't, this is essential to get my character to move, basically. So, but I already have the tutorial. The problem is, it's on Unity. But just let me watch it real quick. I could even make it in C# if I got to, you know what I'm saying? We'll figure it out for real. It should be in my playlist. Where's the good dough? Reactable content. Good dough refresher maybe?
So you think you know Wix?
Nah, I don't know Wix, buddy. You got it. Let's see. There was like a game links to help. I have one like full of Unity content. Look at this links to help right here.
Hi, everyone.
Shut up. This is some beginner stuff. I looked up. That was like when I first started. No, that is not helpful. Say it ain't so. Let's go to my other account. I think it might be on my other account. I got 16 subscribers. Whoa. Blew up a little bit on there on the YouTube side of things. Going crazy. I'm going to be able to stream on there in a little bit if I keep going, bro. God is great. But let's see. I didn't even notice that. I was stuck at like 9 for months. I dang near doubled that off like a couple shorts. That's why I got to get back to posting. But that's what we're on here to do. All right. That's enough, y'all. Let's get to it. Let's see if I can find this. I see game. So I got some beats enemy. Yes, sir.
Embrace alfresco.
It's all in Unity, though. Visual feedback. Sync your beat to game in Unity. Alright, this is mad loud for starters. Let's turn this down. I don't even know why it's that loud. Secondly, let's try to look the same thing up, but put good dough instead of Unity. Sync your beat to game in Cadet. Sync gameplay. Oh, a documentation for it. Brother, I might be a little cooked. Hold on. Let's go to video. Cooked is never how I describe it, but let's just look up how to add music real quick.
Hello, everybody. Chris here.
Ooh, but it has to be GD Quest. How to add music to your game. A GD Quest. Alright, bro. I'm searching this up on Bing, so maybe that's why I'm not finding what I'm looking for. So that's on me, bro. I'm sorry for wasting everybody's time like that. Let me try to search this up on Google and see. Oh, of course, I actually am finding literally what I'm looking up into the search bar. Alright, let's see if I can find it. There we go. Got me that second time. Code your first game. Background. How to add background music. Code your first game with Godot. GD Quest. Alright.
In this video, you will get to create your first
Alright, bro. I can react to this. Hold on. Let's go ahead and wrong thing. Right thing, wrong window. Where my face cam at? It's too far back. What is this? Yeah, bring you down here, bro. You don't need to be way up there, though. Oof. Looking pretty dark. Pretty dark. No cap. With that alfalfa sticking straight up in the air, let me at least get a green screen background. Let me at least make the background green screen. I'm gonna kick the computer into overdrive. Alright. Oops. I have to. Where is it? Right here. Properties. Deactivate. We'll see y'all in a sec. Try again. Okay. Blur the background. Green screen it. Go back here. Go to OBS. Go to camo. Activate. Okay. What's going on? Spotlight filter 9. Emoji hands. Do I not have the settings on here? Blending mode. Subtract. Not quite. Blending mode. Normal. I remember now. But the fact that I can't see the bottom of the screen is crazy. Alright. And what was it? I feel like it was a chroma key, no? Yeah, it was. Close. Alright, there we go. Perfect. Perfect. Let's get this reaction going. I don't like my camera placement either. It's not just you. Alright. Right here's cool. Yes, sir. Let's make me bigger, large, and put me in the. Okay, that's too big. I might as well just kept the green background. I got a feeling maybe he won't use this side. He won't be up here like that. Or y'all think he not gonna be like that? I don't think he would be like doing nothing over here. But anyways, are they? Shouts out to GD Quest, man. Let's get the video playing. Shouts out to GD Quest. GD Quest, how to add audio to your video review. You can check out the full video in the description. But we're just going to react to this one section real quick. Okay. We're just reacting to this one section real quick. GD Quest, code your first complete 2D game with Godot. I'm just going to react to the add sound section. I just want to see something, but I'm just reacting to it.
What do we have left? Music. We don't have any sound in the game, so we're going to add.
Oh, you know what? I'm going to have to retake that, yo. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if you're watching this live. You're like, bro, I just watched him do this twice. Yeah, you are going to watch me do this twice. And if you're listening to this on an uncut version of the stream, you are going to watch me do this twice because, look, bro, I don't think you can hear the desktop audio. I don't even need nobody to say it. Like, I'm pretty sure you cannot hear it. Play that for 1 second. All right, let's take this out of full screen, bro. It's throwing me right now. Hit a loop, put me in a daze, bro. Okay, so we need to make OBS. Cannot get any smaller than this. All right, bro. That's real. I didn't want it no smaller anyways. This window could get smaller than this though, so we just gotta play it where I can still see the audio in the background. If it lets me grab it, dang, bro. Alright, make it hecka small real quick, and then let's just see how this sounds audio-wise.
Some music. You will find two sounds in the art directory. One is a music loop and the other is a game over sound. So we're going to use both of these. To play music, you use nodes in Godot as well. So we'll select the main node and add a new audio stream player. It plays an audio file. We'll create that node and call this one music. We'll also need one for the game over sound because you can't assign multiple sounds to one of these nodes. So let's duplicate it because you can't. We'll select the main node and add a new.
Alright, so we'll be reacting to how to add sound to your game by GD Quest. Let's get into it.
What do we have left? Music. We don't have any sound in the game, so we're going to add some music. You will find two sounds in the art directory. One is a music loop and the other is a game over sound. So we're going to use both of these. To play music, you use nodes in Godot as well. So we'll select the main node and add a new audio stream player. It plays an audio file. We'll create that node and call this one music. We'll also need one for the game over sound because you can't assign multiple sounds to one of these nodes. So let's duplicate it with Control D and we'll name this one dev sound. Okay, so select the music node. We're going to assign it the houseintheforest.ogg file. You place it in its stream property. And for the dev sound, you're going to click and drag game over the stream property. They both have a play function that we can call from code, so we'll do just that. Open the main script, and at the end of the new game function, we're going to play the music. We can do it before starting the start timer here. So we're going to get the music node and call its play function. Then we're going to go to game over, and on game over, we'll get the dev sound and play the dev sound, but we also want to stop the music. Otherwise, the two will play at the same time. So we get the music node and call it
Move sound, and I'm gonna play it. Okay. I'm just gonna be quiet.
stop function. You can see the pattern where all the things you can play and pause in Godot have these play and stop method, whether it's for animation, timers, those kinds of things. Now I'm just going to open the audio tab at the bottom. This is where you can find the audio channels, and I'm going to mute it just for the recording and play the game, but you can play and everything should be fine. Now you should have the complete game with the music playing if you followed all the steps until there. So we have a game over, the game over sound plays, dodge the creep restarts, we can press start, the player goes back to the center, the score resets to 0. There you go. You made a complete game from scratch. It's a 2D one. And this has been an opportunity to see lots of things. You've done procedural generation, you've done some interface design, movement, testing collisions using different kinds of physics bodies. Congratulations, and thank you for following until here. There's a next video coming which will show you how to create a complete 3D game from scratch. People are often afraid of 3D, but you'll see that a lot of the code is very similar. If you like this tutorial, you will surely like our complete free email series.
If I can find it, let's close this down real quick though while I look. Alright, let's see. Alright. And then I think because then I'm gonna have to glue the video together, and gluing a long video like this is gonna take absolutely too long, and take up too much space. So we're just gonna have to not see the rest of this. I'm sorry, I'm learning over here, bro. Don't think I'm not doing anything. I'm learning. I just can't show it to y'all. I probably can't even really let y'all hear it. I doubt anybody's gonna come for me, but he is from the UK. I'm from the US. You know how I go. I don't really trust him. You know how I get, but he might. He might. It's possible. It's possible. It's possible. Shout out B3AGZ. B3AGZ. Sync your beat. Sync
Have you played Hi-Fi Rush and thought, I'd like to make a rhythm action game in Unity, only to find out it's not as easy as you expected?
Yeah.
Did you go down the rabbit hole of trying to figure out why your music keeps going out of sync and get nowhere? The solution to this problem is both easier and harder than you might think. Honestly, it depends how hard you think it is. So in theory, syncing your game to a beat should be easy. You take the BPM, or beats per minute, of your track, work out how long that beat is in seconds, and then
I'm starting to feel like this is a Unity problem. Let's see. I think audio stream manager. Good though. Hold on. Let me find out this is unnecessary. All-in-one audio manager. Introducing Resonate all-in-one audio manager. Full audio stream players, automatic 2D and 3D space detection, phonic playback. The ability to set per stream volume. Variations in resource config seems missing. Sure, I can call a trigger variant. But when balancing volume of individual sounds, I want to set is configuration. Thank you for your feedback. Bug fixes, bug fixes, bug fixes. Audio manager. So let's look up some Resonate videos. Let's look up Resonate. Godot. This is game development. You thought it was just me coding on that computer. Unfortunately, it is not, buddy. Resonate Godot 4. We might have to add an add-on to keep this going quickly. I don't think what bro did was that difficult. Hold on, let's see.
Trigger at that
Explain
interval.
pretty
Simples. The problem with this method is that your
You're not
music and your
using it.
game are working independently
You
of
show how
each
to
other.
fix the
If
problem
the audio
with the
source is slightly
engine
delayed in
has no
starting,
solved
or the music
solution, so we
stutters, or
treat
the
it
game
like that.
itself somehow gets out of sorts, your game and your music go out of sync and there is absolutely no way to correct it other than restarting both systems, because they're not talking to each other. This should be easy to get around. Instead of using the game time to track our beat, we use the elapsed time of the audio we're playing. That way, no matter what happens with the game or the audio source, our beat will always be in sync with the audio. Simples. This method works fine for uncompressed audio, but the way compressed audio is handled in Unity means that the time value is essentially useless for syncing if the track is like an MP3 or something like that. So, how do we do it? To get around this issue, we do something that, to be honest, Unity should probably offer itself. Audio source gives us a time samples variable, which tells us how many samples we are into the audio track. It's kind of like a time thing, only instead of seconds, we're counting samples. By dividing this number by the frequency of the audio clip, we get an accurate elapsed time, regardless of whether it's compressed or not. Well, accurate enough for this anyway. Since the frequency represents a whole second of audio, we can get different intervals by altering this.
Wait a minute, hold on. He just said divide samples by frequency, and that got us time.
Seconds, we're counting samples. By dividing this number by the frequency of the audio clip, we get an accurate elapsed time, regardless of whether it's compressed or not. Well, accurate enough for this anyway. Since the frequency represents a whole second of audio, we can get different intervals by altering this value. For example, if we calculate our BPM as a fraction of a second and then multiply the frequency by it, we get our time a beat of audio is compressed or not. Well, accurate enough for this anyway. Since the frequency represents a whole second of audio, we can get different intervals by altering this value. For example, if we calculate our BPM as a fraction of a second and then multiply the frequency.
$60 beats per minute. If it's 60 beats per minute and it's 60 seconds in a minute, that means it's a beat every second. If it's 120 tempo, then that means it's a beat every half second. If it's 160 tempo, it's not a beat every half second. I'll switch it up, but that's how we do it. So when I switch tempo, so it's a beat every half second. So beats per minute. So I need to track what a minute is, and then I need to have a beats per minute counter that starts at 60, gradually increases every day that the game continues. Okay, wait, hold on. Beats per second. Beats per minute. So I need to have a timer to wait 60 seconds divided by 60. After I divide my time, my beat PM, not a million beats per minute by like whatever I'm doing, then what? What's after that? So now I have a beat. After I got a beat, like how do? All right, I figured out my way that I'm gonna do it.
Frequency by
Watching the
it,
video
we
real
get our
quick.
time elapsed in beats rather than seconds. Divide 60 by is 44.1 kilohertz. We multiply that 44.1 kilohertz 1050. Finally, we divide our time samples by that value and then check the result to see if it's a whole number. If it is a whole number, we've reached a new beat and we are now measuring our track in beats rather than seconds. So, hopefully that all makes sense. Let's actually make it work. Beats rather than a whole number 50. Finally, we do 1000 by our beat length of 0.5 seconds from elapsed in beat as if we can get accurate enough for this anyway, altering this value. For example, if we calculate our BPM as a fraction of a second and then multiply the frequency by it, we get our time elapsed in beats rather than seconds. As an example, to find out the length of our beat in seconds from a 120 BPM track, we divide 60 by 120. That gives 0.5 seconds, which is the length of our beat. Let's say our frequency is 44.1 kilohertz. We multiply that 44.1 kilohertz, 44.1 thousand, by our beat length of 0.5 and we get 22,050. Finally, we divide our time samples by that value and then check the result to see if it's a whole number. If it is a whole number, we've reached a new beat and we are now measuring our track in beats rather than seconds. So, hopefully that all makes sense. Let's actually make it work. So as you can see in my scene here, I've got 3 cubes, nothing special, pulse. So it just gets to just do a test beat. So this, every second, this will pulse if I check this box, use test beat. So this, every second, this will
Okay, I get it now. So I divided by it, and then for every one of those, that's what I'm gonna do. So 60 divided by whatever my beat is. So let's say I have a BPM of 72. We divide 72 by 60. Whatever the answer is, it will be a beat. And then I'll have a loop that says await for every beat. Then I will play a sound or something. Await for every beat. I have to make a system that awaits for every beat and then it kind of like fills up and then it resets in the beats. Okay, let's try to do it. Let's just try to be quiet real quick. Okay, I need to write down steps. It took 40 minutes for me to even get this set up on what direction I'm about to go in. Let's write down steps. All right, so what I need to do is I'm creating a system. So we're gonna divide. First, I'm gonna start with a BPM. So set. So I'm gonna set BPM. Set BPM. Hold on, I'm gonna just try to like write it out in words real quick. So you set BPM, and then I'm gonna set what else? After I set the BPM, I have to set like seconds. I have to set 1 minute. Minute equals 60. Okay. And then so now I need four. Oh no. And then on ready. Well, it's gonna be a day and night game, so it's not really on ready. Cause if it's like a forever continuous cycle, and I'm not like spawning in this system, so I can't really do on ready. So maybe I could do this. I'm gonna do set beat to BPM divided by 60. I'm gonna try that. I'm gonna try to set my VPM and then set. Let's try to do that right now. So var beat equals. There's one more thing I need to understand before I can fully complete this though. BPM divided by 60,000. Say something else. No. All right, and then we want var BPM to equal 70. All right, that looks like you didn't fail me yet, so I'm just gonna keep going. So I can do that. So we have our beat. Our beat will be whatever our beats per minute is divided by a minute, which is 60 seconds. So now we have our beat. So for create a timer, let's look at that GD Quest video on how to make a timer real quick before I do anything else. GD Quest.
Hey everyone, it's Guilherme, and welcome to the
GD Quest with another banger. These videos, let me make sure I'm not tweaking before I take this content. Yep, Creative Commons license 4.0. You are free to adapt, share under term attribution. You must give appropriate accreditation, provide a link to the license, and indicate if changes were made. You may do so in any reasonable manner, but do not in any way that suggests the licensor endorses you or your use. No additional restrictions. Okay. Either way it goes, all that stuff is right here. Let's go ahead and put both of it back on the screen, me and GD Quest. Shouts out to GD Quest. How to make a 3D maze game in Godot user interface. Show y'all a link to the Creative Commons right here. I will also provide a link to this in the vid. So this is definitely going to be a YouTube short though.
last part of our first 3D game using Godot 3.1 series. In this video, we are going to create our endgame menu and connect everything up so we have a finished game loop. Let's start off by creating our endgame menu, and keep in mind that this menu is only going to show when the game ends. So it's going to start off hidden, and we are then going to show it to the player when he finishes the game. With our game node selected, let's add a child to it, and this time it's going to be of type control. And control nodes are all the nodes that have to do with UI. You can also see that they are green, as we had with spatial nodes that were red and had to do with the 3D part of our game. The control nodes are green and have to do with our UI. So I'm going to add a new control node and I'm going to rename it to final menu. You may also notice that the engine has taken us from the 3D view to the 2D view, and that's because this is the correct view that you have to use when you are dealing with control nodes. If we take a look at our viewport, you notice that we have a blue line here, and this indicates the size of our game. By looking at this rectangle and then looking at our final menu, you can see that the menu is at the moment really small. We can fix that by going to the layout on the toolbar and selecting the option full rect. This is going to extend the rect of our control node and anchor it to all four corners of our game. We can see that by pressing H. And each of these green dots is an anchor that the control node is going to use to position itself when the game gets resized. With our control node configured, we can add a new child to it, and this time it's going to be a type center container. And this container is going to hold all of the other control nodes that we're going to have in our final menu, and it's going to float them to the center of our game. This way we have a nice menu that has everything centered, and we don't have to manually place things, which is something that is prone to error. Once again, as we did with our final menu, we're also going to click on our layout and select the option full rect. Now with our center container selected, we're going to add yet another child to it. It's going to be a VBox container. A VBox container in simple words serves us as a column. And again, we're not going to go into much detail as how they work. There's a video already on that here in the channel, and if you're interested, you can go ahead and watch it. But for now, we're just going to treat this VBox container as a column. And also because of that, we can already rename this. Instead of calling it VBox container, we're going to call it column. Inside of our column, we're going to need three things. The first one is a title that's going to tell the player that he has succeeded. The second one is going to be another message, but this message is going to tell the player how much time it took him to complete the maze. And then we'll need another container that's going to hold two buttons, one for the player to try again, and the other for the player to exit the game. To display text on the screen, we're going to use a label node, so we can already add it to our column by searching for label and pressing enter. You can see that our label is here in the middle of our screen. That's because we're using a center container and everything is centered as expected. If we take a look at the inspector, we have a text property, and here we're going to type success. And as of now, our text is really small. That's because we're using the default font that comes with the default theme inside of Godot. We're going to change this font, and this is the time that if you haven't used our starting project, you're going to have to go to the web and search a font that you want to use inside of the game. But if you are using the project, you're going to find this font inside of interface in the fonts folder. Here you see that we have a multi-head extra bold font, but we cannot yet use it because this is not the type that the label expects. To use this font, we're going to have to go to the inspector with our label selected, and by the end, you're going to find custom fonts. Here we can check our up that we said that we want to create two new buttons, one for the player to try again, and the other is in action. There was 1 minute and 25 seconds. Once again, we want to change the font, so we're going to go to the custom fonts, select the font, create a new dynamic font. Under settings, instead of 48, we're going to type 32 because we want it to be smaller. And under the font, it's going to be the same one. We can just drag and drop it. Now you can see that we created a problem here. Our success is not anymore in the middle of our viewport. In fact, it actually is. If we select it, you see that the rect around it is in the middle. But what happened is that our text is not aligned to be in the middle. So even though our control node is in the middle of the screen, the text inside of the control node is not. To fix it, we're going to go to the top of the inspector, and here under align, we can select instead of left, center. Now our success message is right in the middle of its rect. Now back to our time label. Remember that we said that we want to create two new buttons, one for the player to try again and the other for the player to quit our game. Well, those buttons are also going to use the same font that we're using inside of our timer. So it wouldn't be great for us to keep recreating this font every time that we want to use it. And it would be a smart idea to just save it so we can reuse it later on. We can do so by going to the font, clicking on the arrow, and then clicking on save. This is going to open this menu where we can go to the interface instead of fonts, and here we have to give a name to our font. You can name it whatever you want, but it's a smart idea to name it something that you're going to remember later on what this font is and what is its size. In my case, it's a multi-hat extra bold, and the size is 32 pixels. So I can click on save. And now when we create our buttons, we're going to be able to reuse this font instead of having to create it all over again. Now for the buttons, we don't want them to be one on top of the other. We actually want them to be one on the side of the other. And to achieve this, we're going to use yet another control node, which is a horizontal box container. So we can click on our column, and we're going to add a new child to it, which is going to be called HBox container. And this time we're going to name it row. This control node is the exact opposite of our column because instead of ordering nodes in a vertical manner, it's going to order them in a horizontal manner. Now with our row selected, we can add a new child to it, which is going to be a button. And we can rename this button to try again. Under text, as you probably have already guessed, it's going to be try again. And as we had before with our labels, it's also using the default font of our theme, so we're going to use our newly created multi-hat of 32 pixels instead of its constant font. As you can see, our text is going out of the button, but you don't have to worry about it. This is going to get fixed once we play the game. This is just a bug that hasn't been fixed yet. And now we have to do the same, but for our exit button. Instead of creating a new button, what I'm going to do is duplicate this node by clicking with the right mouse button on top of it and clicking on duplicate. I'm going to rename this to exit, and under the text, I'm going to type exit. Now I'm going to save our game. I'm going to close this scene and open it again just so we have the bug fixed. And now as you can see, the text of the buttons are inside of them. The buttons are still a little bit off as they are aligned to the left, so on each button we're going to select them and go all the way to the bottom until we find size flags. And here on the horizontal, we're going to check expand, and we're going to do the same for the exit button. There you go, now they're taking almost the same space each one, and our menu is already looking great. We can save our scene, and also let's not forget to save our final menu as a separate scene. We're going to save range as scene instead of interface with the default name of final menu. If we decide to play our game now, you see that our menu is appearing to us even though the game hasn't been finished. To hide the menu in our game scene, we're going to click on this little eye icon here, and now it's going to go away, and if we play the game again, you'll notice that the menu is not appearing anymore. Now, before adding functionality to our menu, I'm going to open the scene once again, and I'd like to change the background color, and an easy way to do so is by changing the default clear color of our game. To do so, let's go to the project settings of our game, and under rendering in the environment, you can change the default clear color to something that is appealing to you. In my case, I'm going to choose a dark blue color. I'm going to click out of the menu and click on close. Now our menu is looking better, and it's not going to affect our game because the only 2D part that we have is the menu, so we can safely change the default clear color without worrying about breaking or making things look weird. As of now, our buttons are not doing anything, and to make them work, we're going to need a script in our file menu, so let's add this. We can leave it with the default settings and click on create. We are not going to need the ready function, so we can delete this, save our script, and go back to the 3D view. And now we're going to have to use signals to react when the player clicks on one of the buttons. And signals are used all the way through Godot in several different aspects of the engine, and they are emitted when something happens, in this case when we press the button. And then what we can do with these signals is make other nodes connect to them and react accordingly. The node itself that is emitting the signal does not have to know what they're going to do with that signal, he's just emitting them, and whoever wants to know when that happens connects to that signal and do whatever he wants to do when that signal occurs. In this case, when we press the try again button, we want to reload our game, and when we press the exit, we want to quit our game. To connect said signals, we have to select our node, in this case the try again button, and instead of using the inspector tab, we're going to go to the node tab. Here you can see that we have lots and lots of signals. The one that we are interested in right now is the press signal, and to connect it to our final menu, we're going to double click on it, select the node that we want to connect to, in this case it's the final menu, and click on connect. A function has already been created to us, and this function is going to be called whenever the signal pressed has been emitted on our try again button. We're going to leave this as is right now, and we're going to connect the pressed signal of our exit button as well to our final menu. Whenever we press the exit button, we want to reach out to our tree, we're going to call get tree, and call the function quit. This is going to make our game to quit, but on our try again function, what we want to do is make our game restart. This has to be done by our game node, and because we cannot directly access that node, we're going to have to use signals to communicate with it. And to do so, we're going to create our own custom signal that we're going to connect to our game script. So on top of our script, we're going to declare a new signal. It's going to be called retry. And whenever the try again button is pressed, we're going to emit the signal. And in this case, it's going to be retried. And now we have connected both the signals of our try again and exit button to our final menu script. We can test these buttons by running this scene instead of running the game scene itself. And to do so, instead of using the F5 key or clicking on the play button, we're going to click here on the play scene button or press the F6 key. This is going to run the scene that we're currently working on. And
we need to talk. It's not you. Well, it is you.
if we press the exit button, we can see that our game is going to exit, which tells us that everything is working correctly. Now, if you remember, we want our final menu to display the time that it took the player to complete the maze. This means that we're going to have to access this menu using the game scene, using the game node, and tell him how much time it took the player to finish the game. To do so, we're going to create a new function. It's going to be called initialize. And here, we are going to receive as a parameter the total playtime in milliseconds. It's going to be a float, and this function is going to be of type void. Inside of the function, as we're receiving this value in milliseconds, we have to calculate how many minutes and seconds it took the player, and then apply this to our time label. So let's declare a new variable called minutes. It's going to be a type string. And to calculate the minutes, we're going to divide our total playtime by 60 seconds. And this is going to return to us how many minutes it took the player to finish the game. You can see that the engine is throwing an error, and that is because we're assigning a float to a string. And to fix it, we're going to first convert this float to an int because we want decimal points. And then we're going to convert this int into a string. As for the seconds, it's also going to be a string. But this time, we're going to have to use a function called fmod, which is going to return to us the modulo of the total playtime divided by 60. And once again, we're getting a float here, so we want to convert it first to an int and then into a string. Now we have the minutes and the seconds, and we have to format a string to display on our label. So let's create the string and call it time text. And here we are going to say that the total time was minutes and seconds. And here we are going to format this string to replace each of these percentage as characters.
Can I use a modulate? So if time is a modulate of BPM, hold on. I'm gonna try a while loop. I got while time is a modulate of BPM, then emit signal B. Now I'm trying to think. While time is a modulate of BPM, emit the signal B. So hopefully it like moves on. No, it's gonna have to be a loop, but that is a while loop. While time. Put it in the process delta function. No, I think I can put it in. If I put it in the process function, I can put it if. But let's see what he does. He hasn't added
with both the minutes and seconds respectively. To do so, we type the percentage symbol, and each element of the following array is going to replace each occurrence of the percentage as character that we have on our string. This is going to return to us a string that is going to say total time column, how many minutes we calculated here, and then how many seconds we calculated. We now have to access our time label, and I just realized that I named it incorrectly. It should be called time and not timer.
I'm sorry to walk away mid react. No, I'm gonna
fix that. Go back to our script, and in the script, we're going to need a reference to this time label. We are lucky because every parent has access to its children, and to make our life easier, we're going to store this reference inside of a variable. First, we have to say already because we're accessing a child of ours, and by the time we're trying to access it, it might not be yet added to our game tree. The already keyword makes sure that we are accessing something that has already been added to our tree. After that, we just declare the variable normally, and to access our children, we have to use the $sign. And here you can see that below is already giving us options for us to choose from. In this case, it's going to be the time. And now we have a reference to our time node on our time variable. Inside the initialize function, we can set the time text to be equal to the time text that we just created, and we can delete the ASCII. With this, our final menu script is done. Now that we have completed our final menu, we're gonna go back to our level 1 scene and connect the signal from our go area to our level 1. As you may have already guessed, for this we're gonna need a script attached to our level 1 node. So let's select it and add a new script to it, and we can leave the default settings and click on create. Here we're also going to need a custom signal, which is going to be called level completed. We can delete the ready function. Now we're going to select our go scene, and under the node we're going to look for the body enter signal, and we're going to connect this signal to our level 1. This signal gets emitted by our area whenever a physics body touches its collision shape. This means that when our player touches the area, and remember he is a kinematic body, this function is going to be called. Inside of this function, we're going to check if the body is a player, and in the case that this is true, we're going to emit the signal that we just created, which is level completed. This is all we need for our level script, and now we have to hook everything up inside of our game scene. To do so, let's go to that scene and attach a new script to it by selecting the game node and clicking on this icon, and we can again leave the default settings. Here we're going to need 2 references, one for our final menu and other for our player. And as we did before, we're going to have to use the onReady keyword, and then get a reference to our final menu, and another reference to our player. We're then going to need a variable to start the current playtime of our player. It's going to be initialized with a value of 0, and we're going to declare another function that is pretty similar to the physics process, but instead of being in sync with the physics engine, this function is called on every frame of our game. And inside of the process, we're going to increase the value of playtime by the value of delta on every frame. With this, we're going to be able to know how many milliseconds it took the player to finish the game when he touches the goal. Now, we are first going to connect the custom signal that we just created on our level 1 by selecting it and going to the node tab. And now you can see that we have this level completed signal that was created on our level 1 script. We can double click it and connect to our game script. And when we completed the level, we are going to start our total playtime on a new variable, and it's going to be equal to our playtime. We're then going to remove our player from the game tree because we don't want the player to keep playing when he's finished the game. To do so, we have to access our player and call the function queueFree. And finally, we're going to access our final menu and initialize it by passing to it the value of total playtime. And the last piece of the puzzle is connecting our final menu signal, which is the retry that we created on our final menu script, to our game script. And whenever this function gets called, we're going to access the tree and call reload current scene. This is going to restart our game by reloading the current scene, which in this case is the game scene.
That was a beautiful video, chef's kiss of a video. Thank you, GD Quest. I'm gonna come back and rewatch this multiple times. We're going to do playtime underscore play underscore time plus equals delta var play underscore time equals 0, 0. So this is what you initiate. Then you go to function process. Shouts out to GD Quest 3D Maze video. You go check it out. Links in description and every. What's up? What cup is that? Is that like just a random cup?
No, I just got it.
You spit in here?
No, I just drank out of it. Give it back to me. I'm just trying to be kind. I haven't seen this no water today. Yeah.
Nah, this is.
It's crisp. It's hidden though.
Nah, it is. This the one is the one I just put in the fridge, like the Sprouts one.
No.
What is this?
The other one.
The
running out.
bro.
Yeah, son.
Tastes like I just climbed a mountain.
That's what I thought.
No cap. I'm not even gonna cap. They just look. The peak of a glacier or something. That tasted amazing. Nah, that was actually crazy, bro. Let me find out. I was playing this on Spotify. Nah, there's no I was playing this shit. Shout out to GD Quest 3D Maze. What was I saying? Oh yeah, that's how y'all do it though, bro. If y'all ain't see, y'all see it. That's how you make a timer. Bar playtime equals 0. Then put in function underscore process delta, make it a float, void, all that. Play underscore time delta, and then you got yourself a timer. So that's all I'll be doing today. I'm gonna be working on this on the side. Y'all gonna be able to see it. I'm not gonna be able to see it. I be getting up walking away. That's really the problem with the recording and trying to make sure everything's like perfect. My phone double audio streaming on y'all. That's the problem with recording, trying to make everything like perfect though. Just trying to like make y'all see everything. Like it's just some stuff because I just can't. Like I get on here and this is what I'm doing today. I would have did this off camera if I didn't know. So like I guess I gotta come on here and just like only have code written up and prepared, but usually that's not really how it goes. I just open up the computer and see where it takes me. This is where we're at right now. We're gonna make this system though. I'm gonna try to record as much as I can. I'm gonna try my best to make sure I document everything though. So this is just the first one. I'm gonna be back on this today for sure. Whether it be later on tonight, probably I gotta go to class and I gotta go do work, but I do have to go to class as well too. So I'll probably be back on, but it probably won't be back till like 7 around there, something like that. Chromebooked mad dirty. either way it goes, though, when I come back, the whole signal system might be done already. I'm sorry if you didn't see it. Proprietary code, buddy. I guess I'm keeping that one under wraps, but either way it goes. Catch you on the next one. I will be posting this, but it's just like a code with me 3.5. I was on here long enough doing stuff that is not copyrightable. So hopefully y'all appreciate it. It's just something to play while you code in the background. You probably knew all this stuff anyways. I'm just learning how to make a timer and stuff in Godot. Like I said, I'm gonna get this beat seeker down though. I'm gonna have me a mini FL Studios in it, John, and we gonna go crazy. But catch you on the next one. I got mad research to do, mad documentation to look up. Y'all don't really want to see that. To be for real, I'm just gonna be dead silent. Cut up those reaction videos that I just made. Thank you for seeing my first reaction. Man, did anybody see it? But if you're watching this on YouTube, appreciate y'all. Either way it goes, yeah, that's really it for the code with me. Maybe I'll connect it with the one I post tonight. Probably won't, but that's a lot of video, too long of a video for me to be trying to like put together. It's gonna take forever to save on InShot, and then like you can't leave the app, so I just gotta like put my phone down for 45 minutes and not do anything with it at all. I love y'all. God loves y'all. Catch y'all in the next one. I will have another one back up. Hopefully we get to some actual coding eventually here. But I'm gonna get it, bro. I'm gonna get it. We got our sound picked out, and I'm sorry you're not gonna see that because that was a pretty bad stream because I did the same thing I'm doing today. But at least I'm posting this one on YouTube. I'm gonna try to at least push this one out there to stay forever. And this one would just get a 0.5 or a 0.25 at that. Maybe this will be episode 4.25, 3.25. Let's figure out what we do with it. But yeah, I'm just yapping right now. Let's do that though. var. Let's actually knock this out real quick. Well, I'm just gonna walk away, bro. We'll see if I did all that. Yeah, I might not even turn it off though. We'll see. I'm feeling walk away. Alright. I have returned. Let's go ahead and get this done right here. We got var play I don't think you have to put this stuff at the end no more. I think this is actually just old Godot talk. But I'm gonna do it anyways. I don't know though. I'll let you know right now. I'll be the first to say I don't know. So you don't even gotta say I don't know. I'm learning. I don't know. Alright, so we got our playtime. So we got a node, BPM, what do I need the timer for again? Oh yeah. So if playtime is a module of beat, okay, so if playtime I forgot how to use a module. I'm not even gonna count. Okay. Seems I'm a little bit confused on how this works. Let's see. Yeah, I'm ready.